All right, looks like we got another little reveal here today from Total War. Creative Assembly has launched their new Lord page, which goes over the Shadow and the Blade. Now with this, we're going to be getting their starting locations, their Lord effects, their faction effects, their unique skills, pretty much all the cool things that make each Lord. So in this video today, we're going to go over that, kind of talk a little bit about the lore and what's really exciting about these starting location choices for both Mortal Empires and for Vortex campaign. So we're going to start this out with the Shadow, talking about Deathmaster Snikch. And there's a lot of cool things with this. For one, we'll go over his faction effects here. He has access to Clan Eshin shadowy dealings actions, which we already know about. Recruitment cost plus 200% for all non-Eshin units, all armies. Clan loyalty, Eshin lords never defect, which is kind of cool. I really like that. Kind of built into them. They're too afraid to defect, or they're too loyal, one or the other. Night Runners and Gutter Runners units are armor-piercing warp-infused, or use armor-piercing warp-infused projectiles. What I like about that is it kind of offsets this steep recruitment cost. This way, you know, you're not going to have access to Warp Block Jezzails or Rattling Guns right away, because those are considered Scryer units. So getting this going is getting this little thing going is pretty nice. It kind of get you a nice stopgap in between. Deathmaster Snikch stalks around in the shadows looking for the perfect opportunity to strike, so a mount would just slow him down. CA, you witty bastards. Lord effects, ambush success chance plus 25%, which is nice because we know that Skaven always start in that stock default stance. Melee attack plus 8 for embedded heroes, Lord's Army, which is cool because you can stack up a lot of master heroes. A lot of assassins. What I think though would be cooler for this is if you had access to the Skaven Chieftain. Yeah, Chieftain I think was the hero version of the Warlord, which is obviously the Lord, kind of melee-centric Skaven Lord. So it'd be cool if you also had access to Skaven Chieftains to kind of put them in there to kind of add some nice central staying power that is not stock and assassin related. But either way, ability concealment bombs, you already know about those. Unique items, Whirl of Weeping Blades and the Cloak of Shadows. That's his Cloak of Shadows, and there are his Whirl of Weeping Blades, 1, 2, and 3. It's either poison infused and everything. We did do a lore video on both of these legendary lords, so if you do want to know about them from a lore perspective, you can go and see both of those on my channel. I'll link them at the end of this. Actually, you're going to see it in the upper right corner. You'll see a link directly to the Snikch if you want to know about his lore. Now, taking a look at his starting map location, he is going to be in the Land of the Dervishes, right next to Sudenburg, right next to the Tomb Kings over here. We have Bretonnians up here. We have more Tomb Kings over here. We have tons of Lizardmen down here. So this is going to be a very interesting starting location for Snikch. Now, it does kind of hamper an idea I had personally for Eltharion starting right here. If you look on the map, this is called Elven Ruins, this little port city. So This does kind of put a little cramp on my idea for Eltharion starting in the Southlands, but we'll see how things shake out. That's not this DLC. Why am I getting ahead of myself? Either way, we can see that this is going to be pretty fun for Snikch, though, because he's going to have quick access to clan wars over here for some confederation, possible military alliance, any kind of trading, any kind of benefit you get from that. So I like this. There's a lot of diversity here. You're also, of course, going to have some dwarfs over here, which will be pretty easy to deal with, knowing that you're going to have warp-infused AP on your Night Runners and Gutter Runners. That'll be pretty good. But let's take a look at, boom, Mortal Empires. So what's important about Mortal Empires here is take a look at this. We're getting a huge little chunk. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's not a huge. That's a little hyperbole. We're getting a good chunk of the Darklands added into this. Plain of Bones, Broken Teeth, Desolation of Nagash, the Wolflands, Nobbler Country, and the Dragon Isles are all being added in. And the nice thing about this too is it will add a little variety if you go to start a Kroq-Gar campaign, which for the most part just kind of had no opposition. He could take his whole little secluded portion, then he starts like down here in the Kingdom of Beasts. Sorry. He could take this whole area, then move over, and he could take all this without any real opposition from any other legendary lord. Now that they've extended the map northward, we see some pretty amazing things. So for one, the Plain of Bones, the Wolflands, the Desolation of Nagash, and Broken Teeth are all pretty awesome and important. Desolation of Nagash, I don't have to tell you what this hints at, but these two together give us a hint that we might be seeing a possible Nagash faction, an Undead Legion, whatever you want to call it. We already have the Silver Pinnacle right around here, which is going to make a lot of sense for a Neferata. But with Mighty Snikch starting over here in Nobbler country, we get a nice good foothold now into this whole big portion of the Darklands. Also, there is a little mountain over here, a little mountain that's pretty important to a specific Skaven lore that's already in the game. So we'll see if we get Tretch Craventail moved over here to Mount Crookback, or Crookback Mountain, sorry. So we'll hopefully this will kind of open the pathway to some different stuff from the Mortal Empires map. And as we kind of take a look at some of the lore in this area, we know that Pig Barter is in Nobbler country. And it looks to be that, if I had to kind of guess it, then we would be seeing Snikch in the northeastern portion of Nobbler country. So we'll see if they are going to be adding any other factions to that new area added with this map. They might just kind of have some stand-in factions to kind of fill up the area with some enemies to kill for Snikch or for Malus Darkblade until they add those full factions of what would be there. Pig Barter is for those of you guys, of course, who don't know, is a human settlement. So what I will also have in the upper right corner now is the link to both my Darklands videos. We went pretty in depth talking about the locations of each of the pivotal places within Darklands and what they might possibly bring to the table. So this is really, really cool to see this kind of brought to the fore here, in that we can see Nobbler country finally being added to the game. We've got, Flayed Rock, Pig Barter, the Spice Route here, the Dragon Isles, which are already on the map, and we'll talk about that in just a second here when we talk about Malus. But this is a very, very exciting move by Creative Assembly, because we're getting a lot of the map fleshed out, and hopefully in preparation for Warhammer 3. Now, taking a look at this, you can see this is the map from the Warhammer. I think this is either from the RPG or the rulebook. I can't remember anymore. But you can see they've kind of taken the scale and pushed it together a little bit, right? So Nagashazar is right over here by the Sour Sea, the Broken Teeth over here, the Desolation of Nagash. All that is being added to the game. The Plain of Bones as well is being added. This has got the Fortress of Vorag, which is I guess you can kind of think of Vorag as the Ashoron 2.0. He kind of wanted to have a resurgence of the Strigoi Empire, and he created a massive army, undead army, and moved and attacked into the Badlands and so on and so forth. So we get his little fortress over here. We'll see if that's in the game. And then obviously this isn't displayed on this map, but Pig Barter is at the very top of this delta in this area over here. Blade Rock is up here, Black Fortress, the Dragon Isles with Dragon Fang Mount. Dragon Isles are where some of the only Thunder Lizards are on the map. Some are in Lustria, but a lot of them are in Dragon Isles. Dragon Isles also has some Dread Saurians. There's a lot of really cool lore behind the Dragon Isles, because you have a Lizardman tribe that has gone feral. It has been removed from the kind of touch of all the Slann, having lost its Slann during the Great Cataclysm, or Catastrophe, the Great Catastrophe. Having lost their Slann, so they went feral. This is like a Lizardman tribe that no longer answers to a Slann. It doesn't really have a direction. So hopefully we'll see them added into the game in some way, shape, or form. I don't know the name of that tribe offhand, and I don't actually ever think it's been announced. So we get some fun stuff there. So this is really exciting, and you can see how this map has kind of been, like I said, kind of truncated, kind of pushed over. This would have been a longer expanse if we were to look at a normal Darklands map. So this is very interesting how they've kind of made this work. I think that this works out just fine. If you like, so take a look here. Plain of Bones, Dragon Isles, so on and so forth. When we look at this, there's such a wide sweep in between all those locations. I kind of like that condensed form, because if this is going to be the blueprint for what we see for Warhammer 3, I think that this kind of makes it work a little bit better, kind of smashing that ratio, that entire scale down a little bit, so that you can incorporate some of the fun stuff without it just being too widespread on the right side of the map. So I'm very interested to see if the Mortal Empires map will strictly be the map we get in Warhammer 3 for Mortal Empires, or if they plan on expanding this even further come Game 3. So let's take a look at the unique skills for Snikch. He gets Jump Scare. Enemy units are afflicted with temporary defensive penalties at the beginning of ambush battles. Ambush success chance plus 10%, and enemy leadership minus 5. Okay, I'm down with that. Scurry Fast Quick. Scurry Fast Quick. Campaign movement range plus 5%. Charge bonus plus 8 for the Lord's Army. That's going to be nice for Rat Ogres especially. Conceal, hide them. Speed plus 10% for infantry units. Man, that'll be really, really, really nice in conjunction with that too. That's pretty cool. I really like that. I dig that a lot. Ability concealment bombs for Night Runners and Gutter Runner units too. Okay, I'm really behind that now. That is solid. I'm very into it. Upkeep minus 25% for all units and Lord recruitment rank plus 3 for all provinces from the contract loopholes. I'm really digging the way they flavored out Snikch, because he's obviously not going to have access to the entire Skaven roster right out the gate. So you do get kind of a nice way to curb that and also buff up what you do have access to. Melee defense plus 5 physical resistance. Oh, I'm sorry. Melee defense plus 5 physical resistance 15% for. It looks like that might be just for Snikch, but as we've seen during our Skaven unit reveal, all of the Eshin-themed units have a 30% or is it 20 or 30% physical resistance innate built into them. So that'll be quite nice to see. Sabotage and Unrest immediately causes siege attrition at a reduced rate when besieging enemy settlements public order, minus 5, local enemy province. Okay. Should be a period right there, and that should be on its own line, but I'm not going to say. Ability from the Shadows, and then Deathmaster's Sigil. We've taken a look at these in our unit reveal for Snikch, so you can take a look at that. Nice little gallery here, him just kind of perusing his goodies as he does a Naruto run up to Malus Darkblade to fight his nemesis. Now, taking a look at the local district manager of Hot Topic, Malus Darkblade, let's go into you, big boy. So, faction effects. Malus is possessed by the demon Zarkan, who is controlled with the use of elixirs. Zarkan's whispers. The demon influences Malus to commit acts of slaughter and cruelty. If you guys haven't seen this, there is a Let's Play that Creative Assembly released, so you can see Zarkan, you can see Malus Darkblade in action. Obviously, I did my unit reveal on him, but through those videos, you'll be able to actually see what the campaign is like for him. Military alliance with Nagaron, which is pretty cool. Income from iron mines, gold mines, and marble quarries, plus 30% all regions, which you're going to have access to aplenty in the Southlands. Mount Spite, larger than most of the others of its kind. Okay, I've already made that mistake. It's actually smaller. I've already made that mistake, guys. Don't tell him. I'll tell him. The ferocious cold one named Spite is truly a creature fit for a heartless murderer like Malus Darkblade. Recruitment cost minus 24. Dread Knights, Cold One Knights, and Cold One Chariot units. Okay. Upkeep minus 50% for Cold One Dread Knights, Cold One Knights, and Cold One Chariot units, Lord's Army. Oh, I'm sorry. That was recruitment cost minus 20, upkeep minus 50. Now, here's something I wish that was also in effect. And this can just be for Malus, or this can be for Malus and Beastmasters as a whole. Drop the Rampage for Cold One Knights. It's on Dread Knights too. It just makes them, it hamstrings them so hard. They go from a really cool, really flavorful, effective unit to shit. Honestly, I think Rampage is such a terrible mechanic for Cold One Knights. It's not anywhere in the army book. The Rampage thing wasn't even a thing in the Lizardmen, let alone for the Dark Elves. I think that the Rampage makes a really strong 1,000 point cost Cold One Knight pretty unreliable and possibly terrible depending on the situation. If they get caught out, they lose 25-50% of their health super fast, and they're well on the road to Rampage. So I think that if anyone should be the one that has that ability, it's Malus Darkblade. He does hail from Haggrafe, and Haggrafe is like the city when it comes to Cold One Knights and Cold One Dread Knights. So having that kind of mechanic, I think, would have been a really strong move for Malus. Maybe it would have been too strong. Maybe make it only a campaign thing. We haven't seen Malus's entire skill set, so maybe he does get that. Who knows? Unique items, though. He gets his Warp Sword of Cain. That gives him 5% physical resistance, and it also gives him HP replenishment, which is quite nice. Now let's take a look at them start positions. So if you'll notice, we get a start position up here in Haggrafe, and a start position down here in the Sea of Dread. Now, this is pretty cool. Usually, this is just the high elves kind of going all over the place over here, right? Between this location, that location, and over here in the Capes. So this will be interesting as a really nice, cool set starting location for Malus, because it kind of gives him a nice set of islands to secure a power base from that he can then make a beachhead into the Southlands. And I kind of like that as a narrative. Furthermore, I like the narrative that you can just take this as your kind of central base of power and then go attack Lustria, or central base of power and then go attack Ulthuan. We haven't seen a lot of the overhauls to the Black Arcs. At least I personally haven't gone into it yet. So I don't know how well it's going to really integrate into his campaign. I think it was covered in the Let's Play from Creative Assembly, so go check that out and you can get a good idea, better than I obviously have. But I like that he has this mechanic where he can really go wherever he wants with a very solid base of power. I think that that's a really cool narrative, and it fits his narrative from a lore perspective. He was ranging all over the world, finding these relics, these artifacts for Zarkan to claim his soul back. So this is kind of a really nice nod to that, in that you as a Dark Elf player playing Malus Darkblade, you can go wherever you want. You can just do the narrative as you see fit, and I really, really dig that. I'm all into it. Now, taking a look again, we get a little bit of Haggrafe up here, and we get our Dragon Isles. So a lot of fun with the Mortal Empires map in this DLC. I'm really, really excited to see how this all pans out. I don't know if I'm going to be playing Reponse, if I'm going to play Malus, if I'm going to play Snikch, and what I'm going to do, Mortal Empires or Vortex campaign. The Mortal Empires map looks so fun now with all this added in, even though it's a little bit over here. And I honestly, I think the only faction I've played that even starts close to this is Krok-Gar. So it'll be interesting to kind of get a different perspective on this portion of the World's Edge Mountains. So, and like I was saying, the Dragon Isles is starting way closer to the Southlands than we see. Like I said, Sea of Storms, the Claws, Lizard Sea. You can get a good sense of the distance between, you can actually get it in miles. You can get the 500-mile distance that it is. I think, what, that's probably about 1,000, 1,200 miles between Serpent Coast and the Claws, give or take. I'm eyeballing it right now. So you can really see that they've smashed the Dragon Isles all the way over here, more like in the actual Bitter Sea than the actual Sea of Dread over here on the far right, or the Lizard Sea, I guess you could call it. So it's cool to see how they've worked that into the game, and I'm really excited for it. So let's take a look at his unique skills real quick before we close this video out. The Waking is a cooldown, has a minus 20% cooldown to the Blood's Price, and a cooldown to the Demon's Curse, which are two very strong abilities that we covered in our unit reveal video. Pain Tolerance gives him missile resistance 10% and melee defense plus 10. Lying in wait increases his ambush success chance and the chance of intercepting an army using the Underway, Beast Pass, or World Routes by 20%. And the attribute Stalk is added as well. Slumber reduces the cooldown of Bloodstorm and Reaper of Souls by 20%. Those are abilities that you only have access to if you're in Zarkan Super Saiyan Malus Darkblade mode. Avatar of Terror, enemy leadership -7 for the local enemies, and attribute causes terrors while transformed into Zarkan. Then okay, so I first read this as supernatural issue, and I'm like, all right, Creative Assembly, we get it. He's got some daddy issues. We don't need to know he's got a supernatural issue now. But supernatural tissue, casualty replenishment rate plus 30% for the Lord's army, and a ward save of 10% while transformed into Zarkan. Cold Heart, campaign movement range plus 5%, attrition minus 30%, casualties suffered from all attrition, which is quite nice. You're going to be dealing with a lot of different attrition through all of the Southlands. That's got a nice little kind of balance there. And a vigor loss reduction of 50% for Cold One Dread Knights, Cold One Knights, and Cold One Chariot units. Drakau Tyrant. On turn start, lords in this character's region have a chance to gain 1 loyalty. Public order 3%. Public order plus 3%? I wonder if that was just supposed to be plus 3. Because I've never heard of a percentage increase in my public order. Upkeep minus 10% for all units. That's actually very solid. I like that because upkeep is invaluable into the late game. You don't really feel it as much as in the early game because it's hard to build into quickly. But if you tech into upkeep, you are just building yourself for success in the later games. That's quite nice. Especially because it's tacked onto all these other nice abilities. Contempt and Hatred, weapon strength plus 20% when fighting against anything and everything. So Malus he is absolutely pissed that you're coming in on holiday hours to buy another set of earrings from his Hot Topic. So really, really, really excited for this DLC, guys. I mean, Malus Darkblade is probably my favorite Dark Elf Lord. I like him more than Big Daddy Malekith, and I'm really excited to kind of see how this pans out. Ooh, the new portraits are so nice. So we'll see how this kind of this really fits in. I think. Oh, so this is the So this is the new black arc mechanic. I guess it is, or no? This is already kind of built into the game right now. I have not personally seen the new black arc stuff. I kind of don't like to dive too deep on everything. I like to kind of wait until the game comes out and then kind of see what it's all about. I think that's just kind of like my I don't want to be spoiled type nature, but really excited for this DLC, guys. Wanted to kind of cover this because it's a pretty big drop of information for you all. So I wanted to really make sure that I got this covered and went in depth here. And it's fun to talk about the lore. So if you haven't, like I said, go check out those Darklands videos. If you are picking up the Shadow and the Blade, you'll find a link in the description and in the comments that'll link to Fanatical Games. It's my little, not a discount code. I'm not an Instagram model. But it's basically a referral code. If you purchase through them, you'll get a Steam code and you can use it on Steam. But it does give me a commission. I think it's like a 10% commission, which is like 69 cents for every purchase, some bullshit like that. So it's not massive, but it's a great way to support the channel for something that if you already plan on purchasing it. It just gives me money for something that you end up buying anyway. So if you do want to go ahead and click that link, it will give you a Steam code. You do redeem it on Steam. It's just through Fanatical Games, I guess, proprietary platform purchasing, so on and so forth, shopping cart. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. We got more coverage of the Shadow and the Blade coming out all this week, but have a good one and take care.